Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be cooking Jamaican fried dumpling. In this bowl, I already added some flour and baking powder. And now I'm just gonna show you, it's just a cake flour, pastry flour, cake and pastry flour. So I'm just gonna add some more in here. Gonna be making quite a few today. And gonna add just a little bit of salt. That's enough salt. You can add as much as you want to your taste, but don't put too much because you don't want it salty. And I'm going to be adding 1/4 cup of sugar. Now I'm gonna, and I put one spoon of baking powder inside the batter already. So I'm going to mix this all together and combine it up with some water. So I'm just mixing all the baking powder and the salt and the sugar and the flour. Incorporate it all together properly. Now, make sure you start off with clean hands. You gotta wash your hands, and I did wash my hands earlier on before I started. So just gonna pour water in here. I don't want to get my fingers too messy, but it's gonna get messy, so I'm just using a spoon in the meantime to do the first mixing of the flour. Now I gotta use my hand. So now you knead the dough. So when your dough is a little bit like this, you can continue to knead to incorporate everything in there. Some people like to add a little bit more water. I just like to just wait and see how the dough turns out. So now there's no more dry flour mixture in between, and I did not add any more water to it. I just kept on eating it like this. All done. So now we're gonna let it rest for like a couple of minutes while I get my hands washed, and then we'll fry it up. So I go ahead and I put my pot on the stove. I pour some oil in here. As you can see, it's about this. You don't want too much and you don't want too little bit of oil. So now I'm gonna just turn the stove on high until the oil starts to make little waves inside, and then that's when I know I need to start putting my flour in. And I'll show you when it starts to warm up. I'll show you how to do that. Yeah, please don't get my stomach. So this is when you know your oil is ready for your flour to go in there, because it's not that hot where your dumpling is gonna burn. So you can see, as you can see, there's little waves inside of the oil. It's getting ready, so I'm gonna put it in there, and then I'm gonna turn this down to 4 so that my dumpling takes its time and cook and not burn on the outside and raw on the inside. So I just take a little bit of flour like this, and I just go in a folding motion like this, make some circles. See, it's a little bit hotter, so I turned it down to 2. Right? You want your dumplings to cook on the inside, so you don't want your dumplings to burn. So you just, various sizes. It doesn't matter what size it is. You can make them big, small, skinny, you know, whatever size you want. And in the meantime, you're gonna have to turn the ones that you already put in first, so that those ones, because they're gonna be cooking faster than the ones you put in after. So you have to keep turning them and make sure your stove is on low too, so that it can slowly cook. And guys, you do not want to overcrowd your pot, because you don't want the oil to get too cool, and the dumplings do expand. So, and another tip is, the more sugar you put inside, is the more your dumplings will look burnt on the outside. The browner it's going to be. You can skip the sugar altogether also, so you don't have to put that in there. So you just turn your dumplings so that every angle of it, and yes, it's gonna split in places, so every angle gets some oil up in there. So guys, it looks like these are all done, right? And this is how you know when it's finished. You'll poke a hole inside of here. You'll just use the fork, and you can feel the air. It sounds poofy. Okay, so we're just gonna take these out. And we're gonna do the next batch. So this is the second batch that I'm doing, and the bigger you make your dumplings is the longer it takes to cook, because the oil gotta, you know, seep through and all the heat, which takes a lot longer. So these dumplings will take about 10 to 15 minutes to cook. They take some time because, as you can see, the heat is on low. It's on 2, right? So I'm just making it take its time and cook, right? Rush this. This is not something that you need to rush, because then you'll end up with raw flour in the middle, and you don't want that. Okay, so guys, it's been 15 minutes now, and the last batch is finished, right? And yes, some of them exploded a little bit. That's all right, because sometimes it does that, right? It sounds like air. It feels lighter. It doesn't, when the fork goes inside, it doesn't feel firm and doughy and sticky. It's just like airy, and you can hear pff. So whenever you hear that, let me see if you can hear this. Right? Once you hear that, you know that it's done. Sounds like air. Whoop. Okay guys, so it's still a little bit hot, but this is how it's supposed to look. All that steam. See, it's cooked, fully cooked on the inside. There's no dough. No, it's nice and cooked. Ooh, it's a little bit hot. It's yummy. It's not too sweet. It's just perfect. It is nice and soft. If you use the normal flour, it might not be as soft as the cake flour. Okay? All right. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like,